Tried to do these predictions. Let me see. Is the network working properly? It should be working properly, hopefully. Um, I tried to do these predictions a few days ago, actually yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. I tried to do these yesterday, and let's just say it didn't go um, because of network. So I decided to try this again. Um, I haven't done like extensive research. Like I've done 50% of the research. That's why these are early predictions. But normally, my early predictions are not that bad. So maybe doing 50% of the research, I don't know how it's going to affect it. But yeah, let me let me get to the predictions. The first fight on the card is Ailin Perez versus Jocelyn Edwards. Um, let me start with the power. I feel like Jocelyn Edwards has the power advantage, and then when it comes to striking, I feel like Jocelyn also throws a little bit more. Um, and then, but she has horrible defense, um, whereas Aylin Perez has better defense in terms like striking defense. Essentially, that means she doesn't get hit a lot. So on the feet, I think maybe Jocelyn Edwards might have a slight advantage because of the power, because of the volume, but um, Aylin Perez has the ability to get out of the way, to avoid getting hit. So on the feed, it's a mystery how it goes, but offensively, I would give the advantage to Jocelyn Edwards, and defensively, I would give the advantage to Aylin Perez. In terms of grappling, I mean, Aylin Perez has the advantage everywhere, except maybe the amount of submissions that she attempts. Jocelyn Edwards tries to or rather attempts a lot of submissions. So that's the only advantage. But I think the best way for Aileen Perez to win this fight is on the ground, and I think that's what's going to happen. So my early prediction is, or rather, my early pick is Aileen Perez. On to the next one. Um, Grant Dawson versus Joe Solecki. Um, I feel like a lot of people lost hope in what do you call him, Grant Dawson, after losing to Bobby Green. But in all honesty, I don't think people should be um, bagging on this guy because I think he got caught. As far as power, I think Grant Dawson has a slight power advantage. As far as striking volume, I think it's a little bit evenly matched, but I'd give the advantage to Grant Dawson. As far as defensively, I think Joe Solecki is a little bit slightly, not a lot, but slightly better defensively. So essentially on the feed, I'd say the fight will be 50-50 with the slight advantage going to Grant Dawson. And then on the ground, I mean, obviously it's going to be Grant Dawson. He shoots a lot of takedowns. Um, yeah, and then okay, his defense is not that great, but I mean, it doesn't have to be when he is so offensively good on the ground. And I don't think Joe Saleki is going to do enough to actually win this fight. So my pick is going to be Grant Dawson. On to the next one. Phil Rowe versus Jake Matthews. Jake Matthews looked incredible in his last fight. I actually didn't believe how good he looked in that fight. Um, so let's get to the power. The power advantage goes to Phil Rowe, surprisingly. And in terms of volume, I think Joe Rowe, but again, Phil Rowe throws a little bit more. And in terms of defense, this is where, what do you call him? Jake Matthews has the advantage because he doesn't get hit a lot. You got you got Booger, sure. Kaya, I don't have any Booger. What booger? Anyway, what do you call him? I think defensively, I think um, Phil. What do you call him? Jake Matthews. Yes, I think defensively, Jake Matthews has the advantage, and offensively, I think Phil Rowe has the advantage. Um, as far as grappling goes, let me see. I, on the ground, I think Jake Matthews is going to win this fight. So my unofficial pick is Jake Matthews. So yeah, my unofficial pick is Jake Matthews. On to the next one. Uh, Mickey Gall versus Basil Hafez. Basil Hafez. I think this guy had some hype. Let's see how far he can go. Okay. In terms of power, I'd give the power advantage to. I give that the power advantage to Mickey Gall. Basil Hafez. Yes, I give the power advantage to Basil Hafez. And then in terms of striking volume, I think Mickey Gall slightly has an advantage in terms of volume. He throws a little bit more than Basil Hafez, but I don't think it's going to make any much of a difference. Defensively, I think Mickey Gall is a slightly more better in terms like defensively on the feet, but it's more or less the same. And then on the ground, um, wow. On the ground, Mickey Gall is it? Mickey Gall is a little bit better. Surprisingly, I thought I was going to pick. I thought I was going to pick. What do you call him? Basil Hafez, but it seems like on the feet and on the ground, he might actually find a way to get it done. Wow. Okay. I'm going with Mickey Gall. I thought I would pick Basil Hafez, but I thought I would pick Basil Hafez, but it seems like Mickey Gall is going to potentially win this fight. Obviously, I still have to do like my official analysis, but I'll do it a week before the official, or rather the pay per view. But yeah, my unofficial pick is Mickey Gall. On to the next one. Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Hernandez. Um, Roman Dolidze. I don't know what happened to this guy. At one point, I thought he would be one of the most talented people in the middleweight division, and for whatever reason, he went from looking dangerous to I don't know, looking looking like a gatekeeper. As far as power goes, I mean, Roman Dolidze seemingly has the power here, the power advantage. And then in terms of strikes, obviously Anthony Hernandez throws a little bit more, but and as far as defense, I mean defensively, striking defense, I think it's a little bit even on that front. So it's hard to actually even say who will have the advantage there. But I feel like on the feet it might be evenly matched, but Dolidze will have the power advantage. And then as far as grappling, I mean, it's Anthony Hernandez, and it's really difficult to actually see Roman Dolidze winning this one. So I'm going Anthony Hernandez on this one. On to the next one, heavyweight. Jilton Almeida versus Alexander Romanov. Power advantage goes to wow, Jilton Almeida, and then significant strikes, or rather striking in general. Alexander Romanov throws a little bit more than Jilton Almeida. Not surprising there. Um, Defensively, for some reason, Jilton Almeida is a little bit better, which makes a little bit more sense because he's a grappler, so he stand in for too long. Like he normally shoots for a takedown. So on the feet, I think it's going to be a little bit even. And then obviously when it comes to grappling, I mean, Jilton Almeida will be dominating. So my official pick is going to be Jilton Almeida. Not but obviously, like I said, it's early predictions. On to the next one. Um, Nico Price versus Alex Morono. Power goes to Nico Price. As far as volume, it's Nico Price. Defensively, I think they are more or less evenly matched, but um, what do you call him? Nico Price will have a slight advantage in terms of volume, and defensively, I think Alex Morono will have a slight advantage defensively. So and then when it comes to grappling, let me see. It's hard to say, but I think Alex Morono will have the advantage when it comes to grappling. Not a significant advantage, but there will be some level of an advantage. Um, so I don't know, man. This is a difficult one to predict. Um, I think I'll go Alex Morono on this one. I think I have to do a little bit more research, but I think I'll go Alex Morono. On to the next one. Uh, Hyung Song Park versus Andre Lima. Um, Power goes to Andre Lima. Wow, a significant advantage on power. Um, and then in terms of strikes, Hyung Song Park throws a little bit more, but I feel like it's more or less even. Defensively, I think Andre Lima is a little bit better defensively in terms of striking. And when it comes to grappling, I think it's more or less like they shoot more or less the same way, but it seems like Hyung Song Park is a little bit better defensively. So and he's a little bit more offensive in terms of submissions. This is another hard one to predict. Um, damn it. I don't know, man. This is a hard one to predict. I think I'll go Hyung Sung Park on this one. Um, but I'd say I would like to do like a proper research on this one because this is a very challenging one to predict. But on to the next one. Tatsuro Taira versus Joshua Van. Uh, Joshua Van has like decent. Okay, let me see. I think I'm going to go with Taturo Taira. I think he's a little bit more well-rounded in this situation. Even though I feel like Joshua Van is not that bad, but I don't feel like he looked the way he should have looked in his previous fight. So I think I'm going to go with Tatsuro Taira. On to the next one. Cesar Almeida versus Roman Kopilov. Woo! Yeah, nah. These fights are really, really, really tough to predict, man. Um, I don't know why I like doing these early predictions, but I do it for all of you guys. But both of them are good strikers, but I just feel like it seems like Cesar Almeida is a little bit more explosive. He has a little bit more power, um, and is a little bit more active on the feet. Let me just verify this. No, it seems like Roman Kopilov will have the power advantage. Um, and Roman Kopilov will throws a little bit more. He's a little bit more active, but Cesar Almeida is a little bit better defensively. So let me see. And then grappling wise, I mean, the advantage goes to Roman Kopilov purely because of the fact that like he's tried to grapple before, he's shot a takedown before, so that's the only advantage. But based on how Cesar Almeida performed in his previous fight, I wouldn't call it an advantage. So I think I'm going to go with Cesar Almeida on this one. On to the next one. Randy Brown versus Alessio Zaleski dos Santos. This guy is very difficult to fight. Like it's easy to underestimate him, but man, he has a lot of power in his hands. In terms of volume, they are more or less evenly matched. In terms of defense, they are evenly matched. On the ground, yeah, I think I'll favor Randy Brown. So my pick here is going to be Randy Brown. Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. Um, it's hard because volume wise, and like Paulo Costa looked significantly better in his previous fight, so it's going to be very difficult to actually predict this fight, largely because um, Sean Strickland does not fight well when being backed up. He's really good offensively, even defensively, but he fights really well when he's pushing, or rather controlling the cage. And in this instance, I don't know if Paulo Costa is going to give him the ability, or rather the space to actually do that. Uh, okay, my unofficial pick is going to be Sean Strickland. I think he wins that one. The main event of the evening, what do you call him? Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. I think the bulk of the fans who are not necessarily just fans already know how this fight is going to play out. Islam Makhachev is a better version of Habib. Obviously, Habib was a little bit elite on the ground, but an argument can be made. Well, Dustin improved, like his ground game, and that's why Benoit and Dennis could not do much to him. But so Benoit Saint Denis, I think, had a staph infection or whatever the case is. So I don't know if he fought a 100% fit Benoit Saint Denis. And I personally feel like Dustin Poirier won that fight largely because Saint Denis got tired. So I don't feel like he won because of pure skill. Obviously, he's talented, but if Benoit Saint Denis, if Benoit Saint Denis did not if Benoit Saint Denis did not guess out, I think he would have lost that fight. Islam Makhachev is one of the most well-rounded fighters in the UFC. I can't imagine, or I can't think of anyone else who's as complete as Islam Makhachev. The only person that comes close would be Alexander Volkanovski. The problem is he's a little bit older now, so it's kind of difficult for him to actually perform at a high level. But Alexander Volkanovski is the only other person. Oh, and Tom Aspinall. But I haven't seen Tom Aspinall's grappling. I don't know how elite it is. But there are very few people who are as complete as Islam Makhachev is. Islam Makhachev can decide to actually stand, and he has a shot at winning. I don't see Dustin Poirier winning this fight, to be honest. Um, I honestly don't see Dustin Poirier winning this fight. So yeah, my official pick is going to be Islam Makhachev. I'll do like the proper picks about a week before the pay-per-view, but these are my early predictions. See you next time. I appreciate all of you. Deuces.